Now, Litha Healthcare was formed when the founders of Litha reversed their business into a JSE-listed Myriad Medical Holdings and took control in May 2010. The group has operations in biotechnology, medical devices and pharmaceuticals. It has a market cap of 2.1 billion, a price to earnings ratio of 15. It pays no dividend. So it's all about dividends, but Litha not paying much of a dividend there.
No, but it is an interesting story because it's transformed itself from, again, a bit of a bombed out initial listing, the old Myriad company, which didn't do or deliver much. So the Kahanovitz brothers, who are the CEO and controlling organization, partnered with a private equity group called Blackstar, the same ones that are having a tilt at Vusa at the moment. Blackstar are now moving out, and I think as a result of their most recent deal, which is another acquisition in the generic pharma place, which is OTC Pharma and Pharma Plan, the control of this entity will change because the parties are going to receive lots of Litha shares in consideration for the business. So quite a noisy story. If you look under the hood, they just put out a trading update ahead of their results. But they're clearly on the move, and this space, this industry, I think there's enough space for more quality competitors, and at 2.1 billion market cap, I think they're going to start attracting a bit of institutional interest, which could get people moving towards a more compelling market rating.
So it has been seen as a very attractive play. Are you as positive on Litha like you are on Cipla?
Yeah, I mean, Cipla, there's some specific circumstances around it. Litha, we like the management. Our Stephen Sard from Aspen a few years ago, whether to back them, he was very confident that they'd do well. So I think the guys have got a good story. It's a good management team, and they're coming from quite a small base. So they've bought a good business in Pharma Plan. They've got a very, very interesting business in their vaccine side, where they're actually in a joint venture with government.
Yes.
You hear these macro pictures about nationalisation or privatisation. Down there on the ground, there's actually, in some instances, business and corporates are doing business together. And that's a nice annuity business, and they kind of built it on that and the medical business that they bought into in Myriad. But in these stories where they're in a good marketplace, it's a high margin industry, but in these stories where there's acquisitions happening, it's very much about management's ability to do the right deal, to get the value out of them, and to keep the whole thing sustainable.
Paul, Peter touched on it, this whole government tenders and vaccines. It seems to be working for them at this stage.
Yeah, that's interesting. There's been quite a lot of talk about government establishing a pharmaceutical company. I'm not quite sure what exactly they want to manufacture and what they're going to do it on, what the base will be. But it is interesting. In my experience in South Africa, you don't want to be a company that is a supplier to government, like a construction company, because then you never get paid. What you do want to be is a competitor to government, like providing educational goods or stuff that otherwise healthcare, for example, people, so I don't worry too much about that. I also saw the reference on Biovac to the fact the government was involved, but they deconsolidated that in their earnings. As a result, it's going to be sort of a joint venture. So that sounds good. You can be friends.
Them, you've got your customer because they're your shareholder as well.
Indeed. They've also got Pharma Plan. They've just acquired that one.
Yeah.
Do you like that business?
Yeah, look, I think an important point is what Paul made, is this companies, when they're below 1.5 billion, they don't really get into radar screens. Now, Pharma Plan was quite a material business and takes them up from a valuation point of view above the 2 billion. So suddenly you get a whole new universe of fund managers looking at it. And, potentially another billion or so, you start to get foreign fund managers look at it. And that's where you can get a pickup further in your rating.
So hot or not on Litha Healthcare?
Hot.
So another hot there. Paul, hot or not, please say something.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go with not hot again. I mean, I like the sector, but the idea here is that I'm looking for stocks that are going to make you money on a steady, reliable basis. And I do worry a little bit, but some of the growth is already built into these smaller fry.